Shout out Q. Shout out Q.
All right, Josh Kirby back with you, the Kirby on Sports podcast. Now pleased to be joined by the athletic director, newly named DeShon Foxx. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Oh
How
man,
are you?
I'm well, man. I appreciate you having me on. How are you doing?
I can't complain. So, yeah, first and foremost, obviously, you've been around different parts of Shenandoah
Mhm.
for quite a while. Athletics, obviously, you're not new to.
Mhm.
Obviously, you played in the NFL. We'll
Yeah,
get to that in a second. But sort of this opportunity coming about, can you sort of touch on that and what this means to you to be named the
yeah,
next director of athletics?
yeah, man. Unbelievable opportunity, man, and I'm excited to be able to step into this role. When I got to SU, I came in as an assistant AD, and one of my jobs in that role was to really start to build relationships and community, particularly with our student athletes. And so, for me, kind of the opportunity to come back and be able to serve in this role is one of those. I feel like I get the opportunity to kind of get back into that area where I can help student athletes develop and I can help coaches develop and be a part of their success, and determining ways and resources that they need and opportunities that they need to make sure that they're reaching the best capabilities that they have. And I'm really excited about. I call it the holistic development. I look at kind of four areas of the student athlete of the programs, and I'm really interested in. And a lot of it is the academic development, the professional development, the athletic development, as well as the social development. And so, being able to do all, I'm really excited to get into an area where I can try to have that impact and work with our coaches.
So, being you're also the assistant vice president,
Mm,
you've been in numerous roles around Shenandoah. How does that sort of help or gain an advantage
yeah,
in this role to sort of be more unique and creative, if that's a good word
yeah.
I'm using?
I like it. I think what it does is in my different roles that I've had on campus, I've worked in a lot of different areas. I've worked with the provost at times, and I've helped on the academic side of it with our students. I've taught in the business school. I've taught sport law, governance, and policy through the NCAA, and then I've been in advancement helping with fundraising for the past 2 years. And I think all of those experiences really help holistically develop my skill set and my understanding and my relationships with different uh, entities across campus in the community. And I think what that does for me stepping into this role is I've kind of been around a lot of different areas. I've had a lot of conversations, and I've been able to hear the needs and the wants. And then I'm kind of stepping into this role with an understanding from multiple lenses on how athletics in general can help SU as a university be successful, because we're a part of the university, and how can in our area how can we support the mission and vision of the university moving forward.
So, athletics at Shenandoah,
Mm-hmm.
very high, great success.
Mm-hmm.
Any way you look at it, the baseball team's been on a roll. Unfortunately, not getting
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
top where you'd want it, but
Mm-hmm.
still some great success from what I've seen and what I'm sure you have seen as
Mm-hmm.
well. As a former athlete yourself, just looking at the programs and how
Mm-hmm.
successful, how do you look to keep that the same?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is we're in a really good spot. Our coaches do a phenomenal job. We have unbelievable student athletes across the board. Academically, they're unbelievable. Socially, they're impactful in the community. They're looking to be positive change makers. Um, and then athletically, they're talented. We have really good coaches that can develop them. And so, being able to kind of continue that and then see how can we take the next step. That's one of the things I'm really interested in, meeting with coaches, meeting with student athletes, and having conversations about what resources, what support do you need as a program to be able to reach heights that you want to get to. I'm a competitive person. I like to compete in everything that I do. When I was in Seattle, Coach Carroll, his big thing was compete, and he had it posted everywhere in the facility. Um, but that meant be the best version of yourself, and everything that you're doing, do it to the highest level of your ability. And so I think being able to take that philosophy and then partner it with the coaches and partner with our student athletes and say, what do y'all need to be successful? And then kind of continuously having that mantra of let's compete in everything that we do. Let's be the best version of ourselves in everything we do. I think that gives us a really good foundation to continue to build on, but then also look to take that next step as we look to be one of the best athletic programs. And I would love us to see be one of the best athletic programs in the country. It's more specifically within the ODAC.
So you mentioned all that stuff, and it sounds like obviously you want to be the best in the ODAC with Shenandoah, but it sounds like you're there to listen and support athletes and coaches off the field too. How big is that to sort of be there for them, not just on the field, but off the field as well?
That's extremely important. That's why I got into athletic administration. When I say compete, and when I mean that from the entire perspective of the student athlete experience. When I say compete, I don't just mean on the field or on the court. I mean in the classroom. I mean as a leader in the community and professionally. I mean compete in everything. And so that mantra goes across the board. And then from my role as an administrator, particularly as the AD, it's how can I support you? What do you need to be successful, and how in my role can I help you all get there? So coming in and listening is going to be the number one thing. Having conversations with coaches, having conversations with student athletes, and hearing about their experiences, hearing about things that they love, things that they would like for us to do different, and how can we collectively kind of move forward in a manner that reaches the mission and vision that we come up with, and that everybody gets bought in on. That's what I'm really excited about doing. It's sports. I love sports. It's a team atmosphere, which I'm excited to be in. And so how can we all elevate ourselves to go be the best version and present SU in the best version of this athletics program that we possibly can?
So let me shift to football here, because in a snap of a finger, we're going to be at the start of the football season. Yeah. Obviously, with a new agreement, there's some new foes that Shenandoah will be facing in that conference agreement, part conference, sort of. What do you take from that agreement? And do you think that's a good thing, going out and finding some different teams to play like every season like that? What are your thoughts?
I like the opportunity for our student athletes to experience different areas of their sport and play different opponents. And I think that the ODAC and the ADs across the board, one of the things that they've tried to do is make our conference competitive, give our student athletes an unbelievable experience. And I think that the decisions made are in align. They're seeking to align in that with that value, right? And so I'm looking forward to the new opportunities and the new challenges and opponents that our student athletes and our coaches are going to face this year, and then see moving forward what that potentially looks like. But I'm really focused right now on being able to come in and what can we do? How can I support in this particular season that they were about to engage in, and help them be the best possible team that they can be on the field come August.
So before this, you actually were an assistant coach at Washington and Lee, right? In the ODAC still. So familiar with the ODAC, local to Virginia. But I just want to take a step back. Obviously, you were in the NFL, played under Coach Carroll and the Seahawks. Your first catch was from Russell Wilson. Just take me through what it was like being in the NFL back then, and I mean, playing for a class organization like the Seahawks back in the day.
Yeah. Oh man, it was unbelievable opportunity. My first catch came in preseason, and I want to say that might have been Jake Heaps, old quarterback that we had, but a good buddy of mine. But my opportunity in the NFL was one of those dream come true moments. It was one of those things growing up in Edmonton, Virginia, and kind of having my goal set on one day I wanted to be an NFL football player, and having the opportunity to go Division I was something that I only dreamed about, and being able to have that come to a reality was a special moment for me and my family. But then getting the opportunity to go play in the league. I was an undrafted guy. I wasn't high on anybody's scouting boards at that moment, and I got invited to a couple rookie mini camps. And the way that the rookie mini camps work is you have the drafted guys, you kind of have the priority free agents, And then you have a group of guys that they invite, and you come try out, and you're able to give a look to a lot of the drafted guys that they have coming in. And so I was able to go out there. It was probably something like 60 something guys out there in total for a tryout. And I remember the last day of the rookie minicamp, I'm walking off the field and I'm trying to walk as slow as I can because you're hoping that a scout will come grab you and say that we're going to sign you to the roster. And I was walking. A scout ended up coming up to me and said, "We really appreciate your work and what you've done, and we like your skill set. We're not going to bring you in right now, but stay prepared. We can bring you in a week. We can bring you in a year." And that was a pretty large time gap to not really know what was next. And so I flew back to Connecticut. I packed up my dorm because I didn't walk at graduation because I was at the mini camp. I drove down to Virginia, hung out with my family for a little bit, and me and my dad are outside working on a car, and I get a call from the Seahawks, and they said they want to bring me back out. I ended up signing with them. I left the next day, and it was just one of those, just everything that you've worked for, you kind of start to see, you saw that kind of pay off. When I was able to first put on an NFL helmet, it was a special moment.
How loud is Lumen Field out there in
It's
Seattle?
loud. It is loud.
The 12th man.
The 12th man is real. It is real. The fans have an impact on games. And that's one of the things too, like you bring it back to SU, I'm really excited about is getting in the community and getting those individuals on campus, coming to games, being a part of our teams. Because when I was in Seattle, the fans weren't a player. Like they were a part of the game. They made it difficult for the opposing team, and they made it easier for us at times. But when I first came out of the tunnel at when I was with the Seahawks, it was one of those kind of, you just look around and you're like, yeah, we're here, and they're rocking and they're loud, but they're some of the most supportive fans that I had ever seen in my career.
Amazing stuff. And obviously, with the news this past offseason, Pete Carroll sort of getting chosen, Mike McDonald from the Ravens, but he's still on staff.
Yep.
The emotion that he showed in that last presser, being with the Seahawks for so long, just having him as a coach, that must have been very impactful for you to see that too.
Yeah. Coach Carroll was one of the best coaches that I had ever been around, that I've ever seen. And what really, I think, separated him was he was a player's coach. We talk about players coach a lot in athletics, but he was a player's coach. Again, I was an undrafted guy. I'm the guy that they're looking at is when first round of wave of cuts come, I'm probably on that list. And I remember at practice, I catch a dig route, and I catch it, and I take off, and it was a really good play for me. I was excited. It was in one of our team scrimmages, and then we go back and we watch the film, and we're watching the film because he would do these like play of the game or play of the day, or whoever had a really good play, and he would put it up on the screen prior to practice the next day. And they showed that one, and I was excited. But what was really cool is when you looked on the sideline, Coach Carroll is sprinting up the sideline with me, celebrating as I'm running into the end zone. Like, he's just celebrating, and like that was the type of coach that he was. He loved to see guys be successful, and he genuinely cared about the guys that he was coaching, and it was really cool for a guy like me on that fringe of a roster, that to see somebody kind of be invested in your success like that.
So you mentioned the community in Seattle, tying it back to Shenandoah, and prime example, Coach Doyle of the men's basketball program, out here right now running a very big camp that he's continuing to grow. Ever since he stepped foot in the building, sort of trying to change the culture, as Coach Doyle said, getting more fans in the seats stuff. So you must be happy to see what's going on out there too.
Yeah, I love it. And one of the things Coach Doyle has done an excellent job was, as you said, building relationships. He's out in the community. People know who he is. He's a fun guy to be around. He's high energy. And he likes to compete. That's one of the things I'm really excited about Coach Doyle. He loves to compete in everything. We play basketball outside of work. We'll play basketball, and we're competing against each other as we're playing just pickup basketball. And I really like that because it's not just on the court, but it's all around. He wants to be the best version of himself as a coach, and he wants his guys to be the best versions of themselves on and off the court. And I really enjoy that about him. But yeah, he's a community guy, and he wants to bring people together. He's a culture builder.
So name the AD, but it doesn't go into effect until the 29th, I believe. Brian Wigley is the interim. What's that transition like? I know obviously you're familiar with SU, but what is that transition like? I'm sure there's sort of a learning curve a little bit in a way. Can you just sort of touch on that?
Yeah, of course, because this is I'm stepping into my first AD role. And so obviously not naive enough to think that I know everything. And Dr. Wigley is somebody who sits on the NCAA Management Council. He's been around for a really long time, a sport management professor. He understands the business side of it. And so leaning on him would be something that definitely doing throughout this transition. And then even after, I'm excited to have somebody like him a part of us and can help guide us through this. And we feel really good right now with the transition. Right now, a lot of it is just working together with him and having conversations and building out plans and seeing kind of what next steps we need to take to put our athletics department in the best possible situation that we can. And then I think, again, it's just going to be ongoing conversations. And up until when we get to July 29th and we officially make the transition over to sitting in the chair. But a lot of it is just communication, man. Just being in touch, being able to have conversations and really see what can we do to support our coaches and our student athletes.
Well, I must say it is an honor and a pleasure sitting with you as the new AD come July 29th. And I must say the Kirby on Sports podcast can't thank you enough. And looking forward to continued coverage of Shenandoah and Shenandoah athletics throughout the course of this season. I'm sure we'll see each other a lot, but this has truly been a pleasure. Any last thoughts for the viewers, listeners, or anything?
Yeah. No, I mean, I appreciate you having me. I'm excited. I'm excited to speak with you more, and this won't be the last time.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be around, and I appreciate it. And to the viewers, come on out. Come to campus. Come see our facilities. Come say hi to our coaches and see our student athletes, and I'm sure that they would appreciate your support at their games this year.
DeShon Foxx, the newly named athletic director at Shenandoah University. Appreciate your time and looking forward to much more.
Likewise. Thank you.